Great and wonderful morning, people. I want to let people know how important it is for us not to cherry pick our problems, right? So when I say cherry picking, first off, I want to explain to you what cherry picking is. Cherry picking is when you're selectively choosing certain things in general, just anything. It can be, like somebody said something to me the other day about cherry picking my customers. Well, I just have a good eye when it comes to certain things, and you know, I can just tell who's buying and who's not. So I know who to take my time with and who not. So that leads me to say this about cherry picking your problems. When you cherry pick your problems, you choose, you know, what you want to deal with, what you want to heal from, what you want to overcome, and what, you know, you want to deal with at that particular time. Well, cherry picking in any sense is not always a good thing, right? Because we're not God, so we're not 100% sure exactly, you know, how things are always going to go. So I give you the example of when I cherry picked and thought that a customer was going to buy. They didn't buy anything, but the one that, and this was a while ago, but the one that I thought wasn't going to buy bought everything. The point that I'm making right now is when you cherry pick your problems and you assume that you're good in a particular area, so you kind of leave it to the side, or you kind of brush it under the rug and assume that that particular issue is dealt with well enough to where you can actually, you know, go on with your life and not completely worry about it. But the dangers of cherry picking is they don't reveal themselves until later on in life, when certain situations happen, certain experiences begin to happen in your life. So it's not good to cherry pick anything. It's always good to just deal with whatever it is, approach whatever it is when it comes to you. Don't get me wrong, you have to be strategic when it comes to certain things in life. You have to be strategic when you're dealing with life in general. That can be with people, it can be with yourself, it can be with certain situations, certain atmospheres, just anything in life, your family members, your friends. You cannot cherry pick what you want to deal with at that particular time. You can't always think that you know what's going on, because majority of the time we think we got it, but we don't have it. We would assume that we have it because it seems like things are going our way, which is not always a good thing. Just because things are going your way doesn't mean that you're going the right way. Just because you're smiling about the situation doesn't necessarily mean that things are going the way that they should. So again, don't cherry pick your problems. I'm going to bring in another thing that I wanted to talk about, another subject I wanted to talk about. Now I was going to make a video alone by itself, but hey, why not go ahead and say it? It's beautiful outside, the atmosphere is perfect, so why not go ahead and talk about it? What you heard is not what they said. What you heard is not what they said. I'm going to explain to you a little bit what that means. Sometimes we can have our defenses up so high, we have so many walls up, that everything that someone comes to talk to us about, regardless of what it is, we become offended. Our defenses come up and we're ready to attack. We're ready to shut down. Just know that our reactions are usually not good in those situations. So again, what you heard is not what they said. For a while, I used to you know, get real upset about certain things when people came to me and they said certain things, and it was, a lot of times they were actually trying to help and not hurt. So they would say certain things like, you know, Jamel, you might want to think about this before you just dive into it. Or, and this was like relationships in the past, or it could have been, you know, you're really conceited, or why are you acting so cocky? And just different situations in life where people have came to me and their heart was in the right place and they was telling me the right things, but I didn't want to hear it because I was in my own head at the time. Now, by far, I've never really been a cocky person. I've always been one of those type of people that you can't tell me. I've been a very determined person, but you couldn't tell me that I couldn't do something, which has gotten me a long way. But sometimes you have to take the time to stop and just listen to what people have to say. Some people have good intentions, some people don't. Some people are just jealous. You have haters out there. But what I mean by that is you couldn't say anything to me without me being offended. Everything offended me. I don't care if it was the simplest, sweetest thing. You can do something sweet for me and I would be offended because I always had my guard up. I wasn't willing to open up. So my defense mechanism was usually to run or to close up and shut down. That was always my defense mechanism. Now, some of it came from childhood. Some of the things that I didn't deal with. I like how everything just kind of falls in together. But, you know, some of those things came from childhood where I felt like I wasn't being heard. So when someone actually came and said something to me, I shut down. I didn't deal with the things that affected me as a child, and I did not know that they affected me, which leads me back to what I was just talking about earlier. Oh man, it just all ties in together. But anyways, again, what you heard, and I'll probably make another video on this because there's a few more things I want to talk about. But what you heard is not what they said. They said, hey, maybe you should try it this way. What you heard is you're not doing it right. You can't live a life like that. You can't. Or they may come to you and say, maybe you should get a bigger size. I used to deal with issues with weight or whatever, right? Maybe you should get a bigger size. They didn't say anything wrong. They didn't say anything demeaning. But what I heard was, you're really fat and you look really bad in that shirt. What you heard is not what they said. Maybe you should wait on that and give it a little bit more time. What I heard was, you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, that was pretty much it. You don't know what you're doing. That's not what they were saying. So again, man, we have to stop being so easily offended when people come to us and say something to us. What you heard is not what they said. So anyways, I hope y'all got something out of this. I hope y'all enjoyed the view. Like, low key, I don't want to leave from out here right now. It's so beautiful. I could sit out here for hours. It's beautiful out here right now, man. And it feels really, really good to clear your head. But anyways, man, I'm going to try to do better when it comes to giving y'all different scenery instead of me being in my vehicle all the time, because I'm always on the go. So this right here is beautiful to me. Just being out here and nature. Nature is gorgeous, man. This is where we came from. We came from nature. But anyways, it's always a pleasure talking to y'all. I love y'all. Y'all take care. Hopefully y'all got something out of the video. I know I did, even though it was me speaking. As always, it's a pleasure. I pray for y'all. Y'all pray for me.